I hear they're putting the Timeless Child into the second 60th anniversary one. Yes, they are indeed. So my theory is this, that they are putting it in. Yeah, he was very clear that I'm not going to unwrite my friend Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who, right? What he wrote. This is what I said all the way from the beginning, and I may be projecting my own personal wants and desires upon it, right? That might well be happening, but I think he's going to not unwrite it, but make it so it doesn't matter. Like, for example, if the whole thing is taking place in the toy maker's realm, you're going to have it's going to be opaque enough in it's going to be opaque enough in the narrative that you won't know when he fell into the toy maker's realm, but probably you could say the entire Jodie Whittaker era fit in there. He is going to address in the second one, and I think in 2 or 3 lines he's going to not unwrite Chibnall, but make it so all the continuity errors don't matter or don't exist anymore. What continuity errors, you may ask, right? Well, let's look at the nightmare that was the Jodie Whittaker era, and it was a nightmare, right? An absolute nightmare of incompetency and total shit. 5 years before October 7th, right, here in Israel, which was a very dark day. We had a very dark day on October 7th when the first episode was broadcast. Now, a lot of people were naysayers right from the beginning. I was not. I was like, no, it's not going to be woke trash. This was back at the beginning of the culture war, right? We were young. We were innocent. We didn't know where it was going. We didn't know how bad it would be, but put a chick in it, make it gay, make it lame, right? It was so lame. The writing was abysmal. And their unbelievable arrogance on how great they thought it was because they cast a woman. And that was it, right? So let's start off with the woman who fell to earth. Terrible villain in Tim Shaw, the guy with teeth on his face. Weird death of a character. And here's the biggest trope that we saw from the Whittaker era coming already. Cringe and boredom. Cringe and boredom. It was mainly boring, right? It was mainly boring. At the time, it wasn't really that easy to tell that Whittaker had no idea what she's doing with the role. But she had so little idea that what she was doing with the role that she didn't know that she had no idea, right? But again, she lacked agency. But as a first episode, lacked agency, was stupid, and was made everything about her being a woman, right? Wasn't really much going on there. Then you had the Ghost Monument, and honestly, there was a lot about that I liked at the time. I was somewhat enthused by that one, right? Because I thought the effects at the beginning were great. I thought she did a bit of doctorish acting at the beginning. But again, that ended on the most insane cliffhanger. That they were still trying to find the TARDIS and they teleported themselves to the middle of space and they're about to die. And how were they saved from this cliffhanger? A passing spaceship. Like the Vogons or the Heart of God. Stupidest thing ever. Like, no, they would all die. Right, but they're in this Ghost Monument, and this is the first time we really got the season theme of the Doctor being ignored and being irrelevant because she was a stupid woman by Art Malik. But she was also utterly useless, right? The way Art Malik's character treated her was like, why are you talking? Who cares what you have to say, right? By the end of it, you got the TARDIS back, and you got introduced to that shit TARDIS set. And you, like, again, for me, I was like, well, I don't know. It doesn't seem so bad. Yeah, I don't know. Then you had Rosa, and you weren't allowed to not like that. You weren't allowed to criticize that at the time. Boy, I wish I could go back in time and give honest reviews right then. It was incompetently written shit, right? There's so many insane plot holes. But again, the point was to get over critical race theory, which was white people are always evil racists and black people are always victims, right? And it had just the most insane plot holes, like, was it Yaz and what's his name again? Tosin Cole, what's the name of his character? Who gives a fuck? Can't remember, right? Can't remember. What was his name? Bradley Walsh, Graham, Yaz. Ryan, is it? I can't remember. Who cares, right? They hid at one point. They couldn't go back to the car, so they hid by breaking into a whites only hotel. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just pay for a room somewhere? So stupid. And the villain, of course, was moronic. Oh, you people have got too far. So they're going to stop the entire emancipation movement by stopping Rosa Parks being asked to move, right? They're going to, it's just stupid. Like thousands of years later, it's dumb. It's dumb, racist writing and boring. Although this one was marginally less boring, but still boring. And so cringe. Rise up. Oh, God. Whittaker thinks she's being inspiring. You're not. She doesn't know what she's doing at this point. Ratner's in the UK. Let's get Donald Trump. Trump. Again, do you remember how good the world was in 2018? You stupid morons. Right, look, if Russell Davies really wants to talk about politics in the new era, could he start by admitting he was wrong about Trump? World peace, best economy of our lives, right? Time to admit you were wrong, right? Time to admit you were wrong. But of course, no one will. But again, like, so many terrible creative decisions. The doctor let the giant spiders die horribly and they weren't scary, and they weren't villains. The Trumper-like wasn't a villain, and he was nasty. He had more charisma than Jodie. Yeah, so by this point, I was like, well, this is looking very bad, right? It's very, very bad. And then we had Suranga conundrum. Again, Jodie being an absolute moron, right? They're looking for something on a planet, and they get caught in a mine, and they get picked up by a medical ship, right? And then she tries to steal the ship to take him back to the TARDIS rather than, and so the people with the medical problems are going to die. You had the very, very obvious trans analogy, like boys only give birth to boys and girls give birth to girls. And Jodie tried to give her a speech about being so into science. Oh, I love the particle engine. Oh, she's so shit in this role, right? And a crap villain. This is a dire season at this point. Then we got the boredom and non-event of Demons in the Punjab, where I guess that it was Vinay Patel trying to tell us about the partition of India. I went in knowing nothing about partition of India. I came out knowing nothing about it other than lots of brown people killed lots of brown people, and they agreed that it was the fault of the white people, right? Okay. Love, and he had the awful love is love speech. Oh. No, it's not. If you're raping a child, it's not love, right? If you have to dress, if you're a man and you're going to put on heels and huge fake boobs and dress like a stripper, jiggling around in front of a 12-year-old or a 4-year-old is whatever, isn't love. That's narcissism. Right? Narcissism. So you came close to a Doctor Who story over the next 2 episodes with Kablam, but they lost it because just the general lack of ability of Chris Chibnall to direct a season. So this one, you had the ominous, evil Amazon-like corporation called Kablam, who are the good guys, and the person trying to blow them up for some reason was the bad guy, but he was the good guy. And again, no moral clarity in this episode whatsoever. Witchfinders get seemingly a hatred of traditional organized religion. You had what's his name as King James? What was his name? Alan Cumming, King James, playing the super gay King James. Who was also super religious, who wanted to do lots of witch dunkings. And it's about, how terrible life was for women in history. Look, arsehole, life was terrible for men and women. God's sake. At that same era, the woman being killed as a witch, Also, the men had no rights either. All right. Again, we're maintaining the theme of a hatred of the patriarchy. We have It Takes You Away, where you have a delinquent father who just wants to hang out with a facsimile of his dead wife and leave his blind daughter to fend for herself by convincing her there are monsters outside. And then you've got this weird bit in between realities where it's very scary and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then even Chibnall agrees that the Battle of Ranscott of Colossus is utter shite, right? Utter shite. I was too busy working on anybody else's script. Everything was shite, but this was particularly shite. You have, again, a hatred of organized religion, a return of a shit villain, ineffective side characters with massive superpowers, and nothing really making any sense, right? Nothing made sense. So the least awful one of the season was Resolution. You got to see a new type of Dalek in it. And I think without the hideous acting of Jodie Whittaker and the terrible writing of Chris Chibnall, this might have actually been a workable story. Again, the Doctor completely lacking any agency. Yeah, Peter Capaldi would have dealt with one lone Dalek, even a reconnaissance Dalek, in between sips of tea while glowering around the TARDIS console. Jodie Whittaker couldn't work it out with a gazillion companions in the TARDIS trying to throw the Dalek out of it. It was awful, right? And we got more examples of the Doctor being cruel and cowardly, being like you have was it Graham was essentially the moral hero of the season, who actually had the journey. The Doctor didn't have any type of moral journey whatsoever, or any emotional journey. And Ryan, that was the name of the character. So Ryan's delinquent father shows up, and before Ryan, he tries to put his negative feelings aside to try and give them a chance of having a relationship together. But the Doctor doesn't do that because she's cruel and cowardly and selfish, right? This is a terrible incarnation of Doctor. So bad it took me a while to realize how bad it was. Absolutely disastrous, right? No returning villains. Now, is Rusty Devs going to try and do that in this upcoming season 14? I don't know. He says so, but we'll find out. So I was hoping, right, over the how long was it? The year that it was off our screens, from January 1st, 2019 to January 1st, 2020. And boy, 2020, that took us places we didn't think we would go. I thought hopefully they may have got an idea, right? And I was somewhat hopeful at the beginning with Spyfall. They had some very good set pieces. But generally speaking, Jodie Whittaker's inability to play the Doctor and Chris Chibnall, just atrocious writing, let this down again. This is where we get what's his name? Who's the master in this one? Same the bloody actor. Hang on, Doink. Let's have a look. Well, we get Lenny Henry as the villain, Sacha Dhawan as the master, right? So I thought, okay, Spyfall I thought was a good title, right? A good name. Kind of where it falls apart. The only person who has any ability to convince you he's a human being is Graham, because Bradley Walsh is a good actor, right? Like a talented performer, right? That's why he's in everything and he does well in everything. But again, Lenny Henry as a villain, fucking awful, like absolutely awful. There's a encounter between Jodie and him, and like she is so not intimidating. Then you got the spy stuff with Stephen Fry, very wasted. And Sacha Dhawan as just again kind of stupid. Him becoming the master, he's a great actor, Szechuan. I really believe him to be a good actor. I just don't think he was given any material he could possibly work with. I always find with them bringing him back as a master, give him decent scripts. And then Spyfall Part 2, again, equally unimpressive, but with less special effects. So then we are at the nadir of Doctor Who, right? This is the taint of Doctor Who. This is where it actually gets the absolute worst with the Orphan 55. Biddy! Oh, you can wreck planets or you can save them on Greta Thunberg in space. Oh, that they thought this was a good idea is beyond me, right? It's absolutely beyond me, right? Even far worse than it takes you away. You have Ryan sucking his thumb because you got to always emasculate black men because they just terrified of black men. They have no idea what to do with them. They really are. It's so bizarre, right? This is Earth. Oh, but it was destroyed by climate change. We didn't listen to Greta. Everything about this is fucking awful, right? This one could go on forever. You the green hair on the kid, the delinquent father, because men are bad, obviously. Jodie Whittaker not having agency, stunning and brave women failing. Everything about this is bad. Not as bad as that, but so boring. Such a boring story that I think I fell asleep in many times trying to review it. Is Nikolai Tesla's Night of Terror. I think, is this one with Anjali Mohindra turns up in this one as, oh boy, as a queen of the Scorpion people. I felt bad for her, right? I felt bad for her that her career nosedived this much. It was just an embarrassment, right? There's nothing about this that was in any way educational or entertaining. It was boredom beyond boredom. So then it actually gets a bit more interesting with Future of the Judoon, where we set up some interesting questions and fail to answer them completely. We get the Council of State doctor who was hired because she's a black woman. We never answered the question of who she is. Look, this era was cut short halfway through because it was such a massive failure, in my opinion. A reuse of the Judoon, not used very well, and introducing the new law of the division. All of it is shit, right? All of this is shit beyond shit. I mean, I can't believe this is actually a worse season than the one before it. Incredible, isn't it? Right? Absolutely incredible, but it actually is. It's worse than the season before it, right? So many things didn't make sense. You had, Jodie Whittaker digging up the TARDIS in a dramatic moment, and then they couldn't get into it, so they had to teleport in, right? I thought the Council of State Doctor's costume just felt uncomfortable, didn't work, it didn't feel like she could move in it. She didn't strike me as being the Doctor. And again, that neither of them recognize each other as a Doctor. That's a question that really needed to be answered, right? I think if you're going to do it, and I think they intended to, they were just told, shut the fuck up and move on, right? I really do. Then it gets shitter again with Praxius, which was clearly supposed to have the Sea Devils in it. You have Jodie running like a duck for the millionth time on the beach. Even with hand cam, it looks absolutely ridiculous. It was one of the worst duck waddles of all time, and the least convincing gay couples of all time. So uncomfortably shoehorned in. Absolutely terrible. Then you have Can You Hear Me, who had a good actor playing a shit villain. One was it finger banging people's ears. What's his name? Evil Willie. I can't even know. I forgot. This is the one. I forgot about the death. Again, every one of these things breaks you ground in shit. I forgot about it. This is the one which had Graham say, "Oh, God, blimey, Doctor, I'm scared of my cats are coming back. Can you inspire me?" And she goes, "No, I can't inspire you because I'm socially awkward, me." No, The Doctor's supposed to be a fucking hero. The Doctor doesn't get more relatable by being shit. Like, no, I'm just going to walk away. It was one of that's probably the lowest point of Doctor Who, right? And you had a lot of contenders in this season. Oh, fuck me. Everything they did is a fucking disaster, right? Then you had the shoehorned in Yaz was suicidal because she was bullied because she was a Muslim in fucking Yorkshire. Tell you what, how about this? Put an Israeli flag on and walk down Bradford. Then you'll find out what bullying's fucking like when you get your balls handed to you. What the fuck? No Muslim has ever been bullied for being a Muslim in Yorkshire ever. Because they're all fucking Muslim in Yorkshire. Have you ever been there? What the fuck? I mean, like, it's ridiculous beyond ridiculous. And again, boring. Boring. Oh, boring, of course, is something that can be leveled at the next episode. The Haunting of Villa Dildo. Oh, God. Great design on Lone Cyberman. Great idea on Lone Cyberman, right? Yeah, everything else wasted completely, right? Absolutely wasted completely. Boring, right? Again, the pre-title sequence where they're like, where they go meet Byron and everybody, Byron and Shelley are boring. You know, you expect them when they're writing Frankenstein for the first time to be doing coke off each other's asses, right? No, they're doing quadrilles. Fucking boring, right? So we get the mystery of the Lone Cyberman set up. Ever answered no? Couldn't give a shit, right? Couldn't give a shit. Then we had Essential of the Cybermen. All right, so what were there? In Future of the Judoon, we had Captain Jack come back, and he gave the very important message: don't give the Cyberium to the Lone Cybermen. Under any circumstance, it will cause the death of all humans everywhere. Don't do it. And in this episode, that's exactly what she does. Hey, I'm going to give the Cyberium to the Lone Cybermen. Then I'm going to, again, this is such a Jodie Whittaker thing. I'm going to do something that's the absolute wrong thing to do, and then I'm going to work out a way of fixing it. No, you didn't. At no point when we open the episode, the next episode, I believe, was it this episode, the next episode? No, Essentially the Cybermen. You find out that all of humanity has been wiped out. Okay, well done, Jodie. If you thought I'll fix it, no, you fucking won't. Just don't touch anything. You're a fucking disaster. Good Cyberman design. That's the only all I can say. That then we have the Timeless Children. Where we find that the Doctor is boring, right? It's a boring. The Doctor could be anyone. That means anyone can see themselves as the Doctor. Okay, Doctor's never been a fat Jew. I've always been able to relate to the Doctor. And if you say, "Oh, it's not so different being Jewish," you try being Jewish and walk down Central London on Saturday. You'll find it's a bit fucking different nowadays, mate. Right? I mean, again, the whole Gaza thing has really blown the lid off that. Continuity breaking in a billion different ways. This makes the Brain and Morbius Doctors make sense. No, it fucking doesn't. Everything about this is worthless shit. Right? The Doctor is going to valiantly sacrifice herself, and then a bloke from Game of Thrones shows up and said, "Oh, I'll do it instead, Icky Thump." Meanwhile, Yaz has decided that she wants to fuck the Doctor and is fingering herself at every opportunity, thinking about it, and she goes off all moany and misses the Doctor. So resolution of Daleks, and again, they didn't call resolution of Daleks is sheer stupidity. So then you got Revolution of the Dalek. When she debuted the name of the episode, she got it wrong. It's called Revolution of the Dalek. You dumb, stupid cunt. Can you not just read what's on the piece of fucking paper? Revolution of the Daleks. A bunch of ideas that could have worked but didn't. Newly designed remote control Daleks. That looked shit. The evil Tory Daleks. That was shit. Everything about this was shit. And then Jodie's wonderful plan is, I'm going to call up the real Daleks to show up to destroy those Daleks. Is this one? Was she put in jail at this time in this one? Oh, at the end of Timeless, yeah, it was fine. So at the end of the Timeless Children, the Judoon show up and put her in jail. She can't break out. She can't break out of jail because she's so shit as a doctor. This is the shittiest shit doctor of all time, right? And everyone's like, what? Well, nobody's like that actually because they all stopped watching, right? This is where the ratings absolutely fell off a cliff. And for good, why the ratings fell off a cliff? Because it was shit. It's not complicated. It fell off a cliff because it was shit. So we're over where we are right now. Yeah, so 4.69. We're down and down and by this time people learned this was the show to avoid. This was unwatchable shit, right? So then they Captain Jack's back. They sold that very heavily before throwing John Barrowman under the bus. I like the Dalek ship design in this. But the idea of like, I'm going to call the better Daleks to destroy the worst Daleks, icky thump, and then I'll work out how to do it. And the way she got with them is to con them into entering her TARDIS, the other TARDIS, and then shrinking it. She was just callous, nasty, cruel, shit, and stupid. Not the sort of character I expect for the Doctor. So by this point, they realized how bad things were, and this is basically when Chibnall was fired, right? Chibnall was his 5-year plan was cut down to 3 years. He said, and COVID came around, and they're like, okay, we'll give you 9 episodes to wrap up this piece of garbage, right? 6, and you only got the budget of 8 episodes, and you got to do everything. So that's how they came up with Doctor Who Flux. Which, okay, so there was no, they basically filled seasons 11 and 12 back to back, right? So they didn't get the feedback of how much everybody hated everything when they made seasons. That's how it fell so terribly, right? By the time they came to the Halloween part, he'd already been fired by this point, right? It was actually going to get a lot worse. But he found a way of making things look like Doctor Who to normies who didn't know what they're watching. Just keep it moving very fast because normies don't understand it anyway. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter. Just keep it moving very, very fast. And so that's basically what the Halloween apocalypse was, just throwing all these different things up at one time that didn't really make any sense. And it was passable as Doctor Who. These ones actually had quite good cliffhangers. What was the cliffhanger on this one? Cliffhanger was, what was it? However, the TARDIS is unable to transport behind the shield. The TARDIS 3 doorways fly open as the flux approaches. Oh, right. The flux is a universe-eating thing. Right, this did leave 3/4 of the universe destroyed. And so much stuff didn't make any sense with it. War of the Sontarans was the closest it came to actually having a good episode. The Sontarans were excellent. The pre-title sequence was good. The way the cinematography was good. The TARDIS not having a door on it was good. A lot of it was good. And it moved at a nice enough speed that you didn't really notice it. But again, I obviously noticed it because it was clearly shit. So then we got on to they stopped being, the pretense just fell apart by Once Upon a Time, which was the one where it was dangling in space in front of these giant people. I can't even remember. Yaz was wanking over the Doctor, what I would do if I became a woman, have a wank, as I said. Village of the Angels. Again, this was made for normies to feel like they're watching Doctor Who. You had the, what's his name? The good guest star in this one. Oh, what's his name? Kevin McNally, right? Again, but clearly by the dint of him being his own acting ability, right? Was nothing about the scripting, but Kevin McNally was good. A great cliffhanger. Jodie turned into a weeping angel and then destroyed, right? Turns out weeping angels are just a taxi service and completely destroyed their mystique with it. Just garbage beyond garbage. And weirdly, Chris Chibnall kept denying the Weeping Angels are going to be back. It's called Village of the Angels, you dumb cunt. Really? Really? You think people can't work that out? Survivors of the Flux. But this time we had Jacob Anderson was well and truly in it, along with the guy from not Prime Suspect, from DC 12. Oh, what's the thing called? Probably in one of these episodes. The Grand Serpent. What was the bloody name of that guy? Hang on. Survivors of the Flux. Oh, okay. Tech 2 there. Craig Parkinson was the Grand Serpent who had been hiding out and going through unit history. Lots of nods to the past. You've got to meet Tech-Toon again, who was destroying the universe. And then the Vanquishers, it just kind of like, again, if you're an old man like me and you nearly get an erection, you just massage it back to sleep, which is how I would describe Flux ending. It just massaged it back to sleep. And like, you see, the ratings were just like, wow, we hate this shit. Right? We absolutely hate this shit. Oh, you got a little bump for Survivors of Flux. Vanquishers, it was a disaster, right? An absolute disaster. So the final 3 episodes, 2 out of 3 of them, made you not want to kill yourself. You had Eve the Daleks on New Year's Day because we ran out of ideas for Christmas Day. You stupid moron! I mean, just like you stupid moron. So this one, they had a much bigger budget thing, but essentially they had the budget for this. They had to make 2 out of this one, so they went for the much cheaper Eve of the Daleks Groundhog Day theme, which was actually probably their best script they had. In terms of a story, this was the best script they had. It had a bunch of dumb stuff in it. It had the Dalek not being able to shoot its way through the door. You had Creepy Nick, who was keeping mementos from his girlfriends or victims. I can't really tell. You had the trope of somebody ducking in front of the Daleks where they shoot themselves, and that was shit when not Bernard Cribbins, when Roy Castle did it in the Dalek movie, right? It was awful, right? However, this was a great direction from Annette Lefort. I really think she did well with that, right? It kept moving at a decent pace. Probably one of the strongest episodes, right? It really, again, it's like, it's like finding the tastiest piece of shit. No, it's not that good. Then the super shit, Legend of the Sea Devils. Oh my god. What's the rating on that one? Lowest rated episode ever, right? Lowest rated episode ever. Lower than Battlefield Part 1. What was Battlefield Part 1? Let's have a quick look. Doctor Who Battlefield. Well, when you looked at the live ratings, they were much lower. Live rating was 1.1. So 3.1, right? The live rating, which I think was a fair comparison, was 1.1, right? So then they let that slip in Doctor Who magazine by mistake by showing look how much they gained and catch up. It was still unbelievably low rated, right? Which is quite deservedly so. This was was it the worst episode? No. It was a pointless episode with no story whatsoever, badly realized sea devils, the stunning and brave female pirate queen. You had Thasmin. Thasmin came to a head, and the doctor said, "Hey, we can't date yas. I'm too scared. I'm scared, me. Oh, I can't inspire Graham either. Oh, I'm scared." Fuck me, it was awful. Oh, everything about it was awful. And pointless, right? Absolutely pointless. And then they got a couple of million bump because people want to see David Tennant at the end. Power of the Doctor. They finally worked out, how do we make Doctor Who less shit we keep Jodie Whittaker out of it, right? Jodie Whittaker out of it as much as possible. Sash Dhawan's what's name dance, Rasputin dance, I thought was brilliant. The cosplay doctor was desperate member burying, right? There was lots of desperate member burying in it. Tegan, Ace, who was actually pretty good. Both of them came out a bit well. Any bit where it wasn't Jodie Whittaker was far superior. The old Doctor's appearing was good. Anything where it detracted it from being Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who made it much better. So this is the first time the AI went over 80 for, I think, pretty much, the entire run. 83 was the highest they ever got, right? It used to be never go below 80. Look, all these are in the 80s. 84, 85. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Incompetency, arrogance, stupidity, lack of ability. Philip Hinchcliffe very famously said, "Doctor Who is the idea that finds you. Is a show that finds you out. It's a show where it's so complicated and precise to write that you can't hide. There's nothing to hide behind. Your talent is on full display." And Whittaker and Chibnall's talent was on full display. This era was a disaster in every way. Narratively, in popularity, even the way it was created, it was absolutely a disaster, right? And so I do, they are going to reference it in the Wild Blue Yonder. I do think they're going to make it not matter somehow. And if they don't, I don't see it working out. I really don't. I understand they want to appeal to the normie audience, which makes a lot of sense. But the reason those Marvel became such a juggernaut, and Doctor Who for that matter, and all these genre shows, is because the fans acted as sheepdogs for the normies. And if the fans thought something was shit, the normies would be sure to follow, right? You've got to get the normies on side, right? That's really the fundamental thing. You have to get the fans on side for the normies to be on side. There's got to be some way of writing this off in a line or two, which is some way of writing off in a line or two, which is I just hope they can have the sense to do. Who knows? Or dares to dream, ladies and gentlemen. Who knows or dares to dream? Blind. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe. And ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.